What up, gang? Welcome to the Ango show. It is March 6th, 2025, and I am joined by Billy TKO for what I think might be a freaking absolute banger of a live show.
Yeah, they're in for a treat today, brother.
You know, last night was a very, very fun night, Billy.
I got a fucking bone to pick with you.
You do?
Yeah, I got a fucking bone to pick to you.
Oh, what's going on, buddy?
You said yesterday on the live stream, I said I'm gonna go live for Dynamite. You said, "Oh, I'm gonna watch that. I'm gonna show up." And who the fuck didn't show up? You didn't show up.
I'm sorry,
you left
bud.
Me, David, Justin, all in the dust.
I'm sorry, bud. I was a little busy watching Evolve.
Oh my God.
I just, it just so happened that, like, if I had to choose between watching WWE Evolve or a show talking about Dynamite, I couldn't do it. I couldn't muster up the courage, Billy.
What do you mean you couldn't muster up the courage? Oh my God.
I couldn't do it. I'm sorry, bud. But we're here now.
I hear you.
Today's a new day.
Yeah, it's a fucking new day, but you could have been there yesterday.
How was your stream, buddy?
It was good. We had a good time.
Yeah?
Yeah, we had a great time.
Did you enjoy watching Dynamite last night?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I did. I had a great time.
Nice.
Yeah. Very fun show, actually. Some things, but wasn't. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. How was Evolve?
Listen, but I can't have a co-host that's just an AEW dick rider, bro. I just can't.
Wow. Wow. This guy gets on Twitter. He's having a fucking fest with the AEW people, and all of a sudden, I watched the show. I'm an AEW dick rider. You heard it here first.
I'm just messing, bud. I'm just messing. Last night was a very interesting night, though, because of course, it's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Unfortunately, the sickos were out. They were out on a Wednesday night. They were just tweet. The
Bird app was going crazy.
I ruffled some feathers on X.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Wow. So we should probably talk about that, huh?
Yeah. I mean, if that's how you want to kick this show off, let's hop right into it.
Yeah. If you guys want to support the stream, very easy way to do so. Click like, share it, that kind of thing. But if you guys want to go a little bit more than that, if you guys want to drive the conversation further, a way to do that is by dropping a super chat. And it's definitely appreciated. It's definitely welcomed. And definitely excited to talk, because today I got a lot of things to get off my chest. And yeah, we're definitely going to talk about that. So Tolino Channel actually dropped a super chat with 200 rupees. He says, Evolve gave me old FCW NXT vibes. Adrian Neville, Sylvester LaFour, CJ Parker level vibes. Cartwheel was the standout. Also presentation, first day classroom, introduce yourself. Yeah. Yeah, this is, anybody, Tolino Channel knows this because he's been active in our streams, but anybody who knows why I watch professional wrestling, this is my kind of thing. This is, like, people don't realize when I started covering YouTube, like on YouTube, back in the day, 2010, 2011, whatever. Yeah. I covered TNA, right? I didn't cover WWE.
Yeah.
WWE comes around, you see FCW, and then you see NXT, early NXT. That got me back into WWE for a long time. Yeah. To the point where I wasn't watching Raw and SmackDown. I didn't give a shit about that. Never did. But it's not a shock that WWE Evolve comes around and your boy wants to watch that over AEW Dynamite. That really seemed to bother a lot of people on X last night.
Yes, some people were very, very upset with you. I'm the one who sent them. I sent them to you.
Yeah, listen, I'm gonna tell you guys, just like Tolino Channel's super chat says, I really enjoyed Evolve.
I did watch. It was a really good show. I'm not going to sit here and hate on Evolve. It was a good show.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm just going to be honest. Like, this is a thing that ruffles feathers, but it's when you don't create a product that's catered to me,
Mm-hmm.
if you don't create a TV show that's catered to me, I'm probably not going to watch it, right? Right?
Are you saying that it just? I mean, are you saying that AEW wasn't for you?
It's no longer for me.
Why do you say that though?
Look at my criteria for what I enjoy on TV. I'm big on storylines. I'm big on characters. And
You're saying that AEW isn't telling stories.
no, I'm saying AEW doesn't tell great stories.
Okay. I could.
Well, I praise Tony Storm and I praise the MJF Hangman Page storyline.
And that's it.
What else is there that's really compelling?
You have to define compelling though.
For sure.
You really do, because this is the thing is like, and this is what people need to understand overall, because I actually would disagree with you after watching last night myself, AEW. And like I said on yesterday's stream, I planned on going in, shutting off my phone and watching strictly for myself and watching based on my own thought process.
Sure.
Like Takeshita and Kenny Omega, dude, that vignette that they had,
sure,
amazing.
Sure.
So here's the thing, is people love to argue that we're just not allowed to have some type of difference of opinion in what we enjoy. And I think that's a little selfish of the IWC, in my personal opinion, because just because I enjoyed AEW and just because Ango may think it's not for him, doesn't mean he's wrong for thinking that. But here's the thing, is you're not wrong. You're not. But somewhere along the line, you have to ask yourself, like, is it that the stories suck? Because I don't think they do after what I witnessed last night. I don't think they all suck. In fact, I would argue that some of them are actually pretty solid.
Yeah, it's just difference in what you like and what I like.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's just that's it. I've never actually ever said AEW doesn't tell stories. Actually, I know this is really gonna fucking ruin the sickos days. I actually said that Tony Khan, when he has a great storyline, he pretty much trumps everybody else.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, Tony Khan just doesn't do it consistently. So that pisses people off. And I don't give a fuck.
You know, in my stream yesterday, that was actually a discussion that we were kind of having a little bit was, you know, I had praised the Takeshita and Kenny thing. And I said the vignette is great and I want more of that. And one of the biggest questions was that, you know, can Tony Khan follow up with that? Here's the thing. See, this is where we differ on opinions.
This is where we're going to differ on opinions, but I can tell you the reason why my answer is so quick to come out.
Come on.
Billy, go back and watch our live streams 4 years ago, 3 years ago. Go back and watch when I would tell you, how does he follow up? Tony Khan still can't get into his fucking head to follow up.
But let me ask you this, Ango. Let me ask you a serious question.
Sure.
How can, and I think this would be the kind of biggest problem. When I said yesterday that I'm going to watch this stream and I'm going to do it open-minded, or I'm going to watch this episode open-minded, what I chose to do was put all my biases aside and whatever I may have thought. I chose to put those to the side, and I chose to go in open-minded, realizing that, hey, I know for you, one of the biggest things was that you feel that Tony's lost your trust.
Yes.
Okay. WWE, years ago, you sang the praise that they lost your trust, but eventually they allowed you to get it back.
Yes.
Okay. So here's my argument towards you. Is how on God's green earth, if you're not going to watch the show and if you're not going, how could Tony Khan ever get your praise back and your trust if you won't necessarily allow that to happen?
Yeah. So as I said yesterday on the stream, it's no longer a priority. So here's how that works. Here's how that works. That doesn't mean I'm not watching at all. I'm not watching live. It's not a priority for me. So therefore, I tune in when I feel like it. And then when I feel like they gain my trust back, I'll watch it live and it'll become a priority for me again.
But how could that ever be? Because it seems
Great compelling TV.
It seems here's the thing. This is what the internet, and I feel like this is why you get what you get sometimes. It's that sometimes it does come off as somewhat of like disingenuous in some regards of being like, hey, like, yeah, I say all of this, but then I only watch clips of the show rather than going and actually sitting down watching.
No, it wouldn't be watching clips. I just watch it on HBO Max. I just want to watch it live.
So, okay, that's fair.
So if I watch it on demand and I get some bullshit, right? And I'm like, I'm not interested in this. I'm just going to fast forward. And the less that I have to fast forward through a show and the more I can just watch it from top to bottom and truly enjoy it will be the minute that they get my trust back.
Well, if you're fast forwarding through something, are you really getting the full effect?
No, but I'm not going to waste 2 hours of my time because time is
money,
time is valuable.
How do you know it's a waste then?
It's just going to be based on...
You don't know it's a waste at that point.
It's going to be based on who they put on TV. It's going to be based on, and you know, if like, for example, like Ricochet's character, Ricochet's doing a relatively good job in AEW. I don't really give a shit about Ricochet, personally speaking.
Why is that?
Just never was a big fan of him. But then it makes sense too.
So you weren't a fan of Ricochet in WWE?
I was a fan of the story that they did with him and Braun Breaker. I was a fan of his entrance. I was a fan of his wrestling moves, but I wasn't watching WWE solely for Ricochet. So if I'm watching WWE, and at times I did fast forward through it, if I was watching WWE and I did that, right? Or I watch AEW and I don't care for his character or whatever, I think it's kind of corny. Yeah, I'll probably just fast forward.
So here's my thing is some people are going to fucking hate that I say this. I actually enjoyed watching last night and seeing the Swerve and Ricochet thing. You know, I said it on my stream that the thing with Ricochet that I found enjoying is that it's so corny that it's good.
Yeah.
That's compelling TV. If you could take somebody's weakness and use it as a strength, I think that's pretty good.
If that's compelling for you, yeah.
Yeah, and this is the thing is like we all have a difference of what compelling actually is and what the definition of compelling is.
I think really what it needs to, how to simplify this argument, Billy, not to cut you off respectfully, of course.
You're good.
But like, for example, let's say you're going out to eat tonight and you're really in the mood for pizza, right? Yeah. And you decide to walk to the pizza shop because this is what they serve, pizza. And you ask the person, you say, oh, I've never heard of this place before. And, you know, just curious, what would you recommend? They say, oh, we are known for our fucking burgers, right? No, I'm here for pizza. No, but our burgers are like the best in town. You got to try our burgers, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to buy the burger, right? Because you want pizza.
Yeah. Fair.
Okay. So that's the argument. It's very simple. What you think is compelling is based on what you are interested in, right?
Hold on.
What you are craving.
Yeah.
What you are specifically craving. And based on what you're craving will determine if you are satisfied or fulfilled from what you're getting.
Hold on 1 second. Because we don't do this often, but I'm going to do it because nobody's about to come in here and say that I'm fucking clueless. DeMarco, who is this guy trying to defend AEW? Ango is right. That's fair. If you think that Ango is right, there is no problem with that. But just because I think that my TV and I view my TV a little bit different than yours, you're out of your fucking mind.
So that is for sure the thing, right? I think this is the argument, right? This is the issue with the IWC. And this is DeMarco, this isn't a personal attack, but the thing is everybody is making attacks on people for what they like. So the thing is, like last night I'm getting scolded on social media. And by the way, just so everybody knows, I genuinely don't care because at the end of the day, the people who have this kind of behavior where they're going to make personal attacks on you because you don't see eye to eye with what they like, I think it's just silly. And this has been an argument for years and years and years. And one thing that I find really fascinating here is that Billy just has a different taste. Yesterday, he watched AEW with an open mind and he felt like it was a good show. And I made it very clear that AEW has to earn my trust back. Now, at the same time, too, just so you guys are completely aware, and thank God we have conversations on the record, on live streams for years. everything I've said today to this point has been something I've said since 2019, 2020 with Billy on the channel, where I have specifically said, this is where they lose me.
I've been one of the people that has sat there and said, like, yeah, dude, I'm struggling watching it. I've said it numerous times. Yeah. But the moment that I chose to just be like, hey, I'm just gonna go watch it with an open mind rather than looking at Twitter, rather than looking at YouTube and doing all of those things. People love to shit on the fact that, oh, just because I seen it on the internet, that has to be the case. That is fucking wrong, absurd, and you are a follower and not a fucking leader.
Yeah, so that's obviously, I mean, this is, and there's a super chat that I'll get to in a second, by the way. Yeah. I see it. I didn't miss it. But I think really what it comes down to is people are just really, really like mad as the tribalism thing. So like I see this often being said is like, oh, well, you're a JD dick rider. Well, the thing is, like, and it's funny because anybody who watches JD content and my content knows this. JD knows this. I know this. We're all very aware. But like, there's been times where JD years and years ago was completely opposite of me when I was writing for WWE and or writing for AEW. We had just different opinions, and I would have to kind of go, like, I would be on the live stream with JD or whatever, and I would have to say, hey man, like, I don't agree. This is an issue, and it's going to become an issue later down the line. And when it happens later down the line, they're going to lose fans. It turned out that I was one of the fans they lost because it happens so much. Yeah. So the thing is, we all have difference of opinions, but people don't think of that way. It's, you're either team WWE or you're team AEW. And if you're not team AEW, go fuck yourself.
That's bullshit.
And by the way, I'm openly admitting this because I think this is so important to mention, right? Not only do I not give a fuck about AEW anymore, because I've made that clear, I don't give a fuck about AEW anymore. It's not tribalism. I don't give a fuck about AEW, but you'll never see me clamor for their talent to get hurt or for their talent to lose their jobs or for that company to go down because I'm a fucking human being. And there's a lot of pussies on the internet for some reason. They get really, really mad. They're like, you're dick riding Triple H. You're dick riding Triple H. And you know what, buddy? That means you want AEW to die. No, I don't want AEW to die, but I'm not going to watch AEW and I'm not going to waste my fucking time on this earth watching something I don't enjoy. The reason why I make that point extremely clear is because that's what happens when you lose me. If Billy walked in to a pizza shop and asked for a fucking pizza and a salesperson is constantly trying to give you something else, you're going to be fed up. And that's exactly what has happened. Now, at the end of the day, in the IWC, and Pete Rocks, I see you in the chat because you've made this very clear. You keep calling me tribalistic. It's not tribalistic. You're just mad that I'm not on the same team as you. And the thing is, you want people on your same team. You want people rooting for your same team. But if I'm a fan of the Detroit Pistons, then I don't give a fuck about the Milwaukee Bucks and the New York Knicks, and I don't give a fuck about the Pacers, and all those teams could go fuck themselves because I only ride for the Pistons. So at the end of the day, this is not a pick a side. No, it's I'm going to watch what I want to watch. Last week, I was fucking burying SmackDown. Consistently for weeks, I've been talking shit about NXT's main event scene with their men's division.
We've been talking about this shit.
It is tribalistic in the sense that I'm saying that they're not providing what I want. So at the end of the day, if you don't give me what I want and I don't see an improvement, you eventually lose me. Now, what was the exception to NXT, Billy? What had I said? I was like, damn, everything on the show, the mid-card, the women's, everything is good. But the one thing I'm just not interested in.
The men's main event.
Okay, and then what happened? We got Obafemi and Moose.
They fixed it.
They didn't
fix it fully, but they fixed it.
Exactly, to keep me in the loop. Now, after Obafemi and Moose, what do they follow up with? That's going to be important to me, right? And guess what? If it constantly gets worse, you know what's going to happen? It's going to do exactly what happened in 2019 and 2020, where I said, yeah, I just can't watch this shit anymore. And I stopped watching NXT. But we live in a world where that's not how it works. And so that's not how it works because you got to be one or the other. But nobody ever does this, though. Whether it's the politics, whether it's Marvel, DC, whether it's sports, whether it's wrestling, it's, hey, man, you don't have the same opinion as me. Fuck you. I hate you. And unfortunately, Unfortunately, that's the problem with society. Everybody's too weak. Nobody can have their own fucking opinion, and nobody will ever go see the context. Billy, if you enjoyed AEW Dynamite yesterday, I'm glad. I'm happy. I'm excited for you.
Thank you. Yeah,
I'm glad, because how you use your time is up to you. As somebody who talks about pro wrestling, first of all, I don't owe it to AEW. I don't owe it to my audience. I don't owe it to myself. I don't have to talk about AEW. I don't have to watch AEW. It's not a priority for me. But does that mean they completely left me? No, I just won't watch it live anymore. Really, I have praised the last 4 weeks of AEW television. True or false?
Yes. True.
I told you, man, I'm going to buy Revolution.
Yes, you did. You said it yesterday.
Okay. But I've admitted that I'm going to watch Revolution, right?
Yep.
Okay. So that means I'm going to spend my own personal money to watch Revolution, correct?
This is correct.
Okay. So I just want to make this very clear. We agree. Okay, cool. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to watch Revolution. AEW is going to have a chance to make me excited. If the Death Riders thing is still going on, if they give me some bullshit heel turn with Jay White, we'll see what happens. But they have a chance to get me hooked back, because I haven't completely given up on them. But I have given up on them in the sense that it's no longer a priority. I'll watch Revolution. They have a chance to make me excited. They have a chance to get me bought in. But I don't have faith in AEW. Why? Because for the last 5 years, I haven't had faith in AEW to keep me hooked. So what this really means is I'm going to use my time to do that. Right? But if I choose to use my time to do that and I don't feel like I'm going to enjoy it, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not going to keep watching it live, and I'm not going to get excited about it. And so this was the reason why, even with AEW Grand Slam, I wasn't interested. Why was I not interested? I think it was very clear that the build to the show wasn't great. The promotion of the show wasn't great. So they kind of lost me. So that's how it works. It's not, Ango thinks WWE Evolve is better than Dynamite. That's not being the conversation. The conversation is Ango's choosing to watch WWE Evolve, because anybody who knows Ango knows that I personally only care about watching that kind of stuff over what I'm currently getting. Now, if AEW continues to do some really, really good stuff, then maybe I'll prioritize AEW. But I'm not going to get into this whole thing with social media and I think this is really the big thing. People just want you to pick one side or the other. Truth be told, I don't give a fuck about picking sides, because I don't give a fuck about these corporations. I don't give a fuck about pleasing any of these people, because at the end of the day, they're not putting money in my pocket. They're not putting money in my pocket. They're not changing my family's life. They just put a TV show. And one thing, because we do got to get to these super chats, but Billy, just one thing I was going to mention to you. This is huge.
Yeah.
You watch TV on Netflix?
I do.
Like you watch Netflix or Peacock?
Yeah.
Tell me, what's one of your favorite shows you've been watching? What is something as of late that you watched?
Outer Banks.
Outer Banks. Okay. You know what's really funny? I'm glad you used that example. I personally watched the first 2 seasons of Outer Banks. After the 2 seasons, I got bored and stopped watching it.
Yeah, dude, what you're saying is a very, very simple conversation that you feel like and you think that people would naturally just have. It's called common sense. It's a very, very simple thing. It's not hard to elaborate. It's not, you don't have to do a deep dive. You don't have to do all this and that. You're allowed to enjoy pro wrestling for what it is. I hate to break it to you guys. I could be a fan of AEW. Ango could be a fan of WWE. Whatever the case, it truthfully does not matter. Ango and myself, just because we differ on opinions, does not mean that one or the other is any less. I enjoy what I enjoy. Ango enjoys what he enjoys. You enjoy, the people in the chat, you guys enjoy what you enjoy. I enjoy what I enjoy. It's a very, very simple thing. This is one of those things where it's not too much. It's not too little. Just fucking let it be. Very simple. Dude, who gives a fuck what kind of wrestling you are consuming? You guys need to go touch fucking grass. Please, for the love of God, go touch some fucking grass.
And by the way, shout out to every single person in this chat, because none of you guys are the ones tweeting bullshit.
Yes, I love all of you guys.
Yeah, you guys are like legends, right? And I see you guys in the chat and you guys all agree or disagree, but you guys do it in such a healthy manner. It's just funny that people get insulted for not picking one side over the other. And I think really what it comes down to, it's like Billy bringing up Outer Banks. I personally thought Outer Banks was a shitty ass show. There's not a person that's going to convince me to watch Outer Banks. There's not. I don't care if the 4th season or 10th season or 20th season of whatever. Like, I don't care. to be honest with you, what's really funny is that there's just this narrative of everything is tribalism instead of the fact that people can't accept the fact that you just don't like it. And by the way, like there's people in the chat. Thank God. Like I love you guys in the chat because
everybody
you guys
here, bro, I believe that what we have created, and I'm going to stop you real fast. What we have created here in this chat is the fucking best community on the planet.
It's so many of you guys pay attention to what is being said.
Yes.
So I know I have spoken personally about, like literally spoken about things that like I had an issue with on SmackDown. It's still an issue on SmackDown. Guess what? When I was sick for 2 weeks, did I watch SmackDown, Billy? No,
yeah.
I didn't watch SmackDown. I was like, bro, I didn't care. It wasn't that big of a thing. To me, it was just like, no. So the thing is, that's how I am. And that's the way it's going to be. I think the problem is, and maybe in the wrestling community, people are fixated on this. People think, oh, you're a content creator. It's your full-time job. So you have to watch it. And then there's this whole thing of, well, you have biases. You got to critique things appropriately. There hasn't been one instance I've offered people money. Literally, I've offered people money on X. I've said, guys, grab a clip. There's 2,000 videos. If I'm a hypocrite, grab the clip and tell me where they did the same exact thing. And I said one was worse than the others. It has to be apples to apples comparison.
Yes.
Same exact thing. Give me a situation. And not one person has done it. So the reason why I make that very clear is because it's not about finding the information. It's not about finding context to anything. That's not how the world works these days. There's a narrative. We're going to push that narrative. And really what it comes down to is it's two things in the IWC. It's that you're grifting or you're tribalism because you don't like AEW or you don't like WWE. And my response to that is, I think you're weak. I don't think you have the emotional capacity to truly understand forming your own opinion. And also, I think what's really interesting is don't talk to me about what I like. Don't get mad at me because I don't like what you like. But instead, what you should actually do is try to be nice to people and say, hey, man, I know you don't like this, but I would be curious to know as to why you don't like this, because I think this is really cool. And I want to share my fandom with you. But they don't want to share fandom with you. That's not what they want to do. They actually want to alienate you.
Now, this isn't every single AEW supporter, by the way, and it's not every single WWE supporter. Correct. A lot of this is targeted at the people that are sitting on X and they're sitting in their fucking dungeon bedroom, fucking doing whatever the fuck in there, and it's those people. They're fucking typing on their little computer, just being like, "Oh, they look at the way he watches TV." Bro, it's fucking weird. And yeah,
it is.
Yeah, I do get paid for my fucking F-bombs.
That's funny. On your marks, Lou, dropping $10 super chat. He says, AEW tells stories. They just don't consistently tell them well, build them well, or pay them off well. I stopped watching regularly because they don't keep me invested. Same for WWE a few years ago. Yeah. I mean, literally what was happening prior to Elimination Chamber, me and Billy were checking out.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Our prediction show.
We fucking talked about it.
You know, it's funny because we were like, man, Raw is so good. SmackDown has like one or two good angles, but there's a lot of work that needs to be done on SmackDown. And I've been consistently saying with NXT, right? Like the same things over and over and over again, right? So the thing is, when I say AEW does tell stories, I've never sat here and said AEW doesn't tell stories. I don't think they create compelling stories to keep me hooked. But I've argued that you can literally just this past week, I said, you can argue Hangman Page and you can argue Hangman Page and Swerve is storyline of the year. I think you could argue that with WWE, right? So the thing is, right? This is where people need to understand. If you like the stories, that's cool. I'm happy. You should be happy. At the end of the day, if you're wasting your time on something that's what you enjoy, you should be happy. I'm going to tell you guys why I enjoy WWE Evolve, and I'm going to tell you guys why I'm going to keep watching WWE Evolve, because they did something that I was very happy with last night. But it's going to make sense to me, maybe not to you. But when I say AEW doesn't consistently tell stories well, I think the perfect example of this is looking at Revolution, and there is a few matches that have really good builds. As much as I don't like Ricochet, I think the build has been great for Ricochet and Swerve. I think when you look at MJF and Hangman Page, incredible. What have I been saying? Death Rider storyline sucks. I think that should have been for the World Championship. A storyline of that magnitude with how good they've been would be literally the perfect way to tell a story for the World Championship. But it's not. So the thing is, there are certain things that AEW does good with, but there's a lot of things I don't think they do good with. And I think this is the most important part. On Your Marks, Lou says, I stopped watching regularly because they don't keep me invested. Guys, your job as a creator of a TV show, whether it's wrestling, whether it's a scripted series, a sitcom, it doesn't matter.
TV.
You have to get people to watch regularly. So why do I watch Raw every week? I think Raw is an exceptional TV show, right?
Yes.
So Billy, this past Monday comes around, and what do I say? I'm like, holy shit, one of the best Raws that Triple H has done.
The way they opened it.
Not just the way they opened it, but from top to bottom, a very, very just compelling stuff. Everything, right? But do I feel the same way when I talk about SmackDown with you?
No, because we sit here and have conversations, and we pick
exactly. Exactly. So Lou is kind of like in the same situation as me for years and years and years. By the way, 5 years ago, not just last year, not just 2024, not just 2023, not just 2022, but at the end of 2021, I made it very clear that AEW was on the edge with me because I just feel like little things here and there added up. So at the end of the day, I'm the bad guy now because I have they've lost my trust. So that's okay that they lost my trust, but I'm not going to make it a priority to watch it live. Now, Revolution has a good build, but why did I choose Evolve over Dynamite? I don't care to watch Dynamite like that anymore.
So here's the thing. Somebody just put it in the chat. They said, I'm going to go back and watch Evolve today. I watched both. Even though I like AEW more, they are sucking currently because of this Death Rider storyline. Here's the thing. A lot of people have tuned away from AEW because of this Death Rider storyline. And I talked about it in my live stream yesterday. I said the problem with the Death Rider storyline is that they've allowed Jon Moxley to just kind of run with the ball for a comfort thing. It was more of a comfort thing. They knew they had things going on. So comfortably, you could give the belt to Jon Moxley, and he could normally do good with the belt. Problem is that's not the case when the story itself is shit. So, like I said, very simple way to fix it. Just give Cope the belt. Let him do something with it. Eventually, I think that we see it on Hangman Page. It's a very, very simple thing here. I do think eventually we get that belt on Hangman Page and let them run with it. So here's the thing is people are singing this praise about AEW right now. I'm going to lead back to it. The people that are singing the praise about AEW right now, 6 months down the line after this Death Riders thing is officially dead, I feel like are going to be singing a much different praise. I am one of those people.
Probably.
Yes. And that's the crazy part is a lot of people because here's the thing on the WWE side, on the AEW side, it doesn't matter what side are you on. There's weirdos all the fuck around on both ends of the spectrum. And the thing about it is the WWE people are going to come back to AEW and be like, damn, like that was good, and refuse to admit it. Dude, it's okay to admit if you like something and you didn't like something 6 months ago. It's okay. I promise there's nothing wrong with it. People on the internet or wherever will make you feel bad about changing your opinion when realistically there is nothing wrong with being what we call human. Very simple.
What really comes down to, and I'm gonna eat rocks 12. I'm gonna single you out here respectfully, of course. But just because you think something's good doesn't mean I have to think something's good. That's not how the world works. That's not how the real world works. When you shut off your computer, shut off your phone, when you go into the real world, that's not how it works. So I'm glad you love what you're seeing from AEW because that's your time. The time that you spend on this earth, you're happy. So I'm happy for you. But that's just not for me. So the thing is, you can't be mad at me because I don't like what you like. Mm-hmm. And your concern shouldn't be if I'm a real fan or not. Your concern shouldn't be whether I'm critiquing appropriately or not, because you will never do the research or seek the context to see if I'm actually critiquing appropriately. But as I've said, apples to apples comparison, there's never been one time, never been one time where I have been very, very, very like, oh, it's the same exact storyline. Yeah. And the thing is, like, the reality is I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about based on my interest. So there's reasons why there's things I don't talk about because it's not in my interest.
It's fair.
I don't owe it. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a reporter.
Did somebody say you were gonna fail in media?
Yeah, somebody said, "Oh, well, I'm not worried about him because that content creator who did that was a failed YouTuber from back in the day. He never amounted to anything. He was always a smaller channel, and I'm not really concerned about other people's opinions like that because that doesn't matter. That shit doesn't matter. I'm just saying, personally speaking, that what you think is good or bad shouldn't matter because what I think is good or bad shouldn't matter. So the reality is, like, this is the truth. Let's get a little political, for example, just for a quick example. I don't care what your political views are because those are your political views, right? So whatever political views you may have in this world, you can have that, and then I can have mine. And maybe we could come to an agreement, right? But on certain things, and maybe not. But what I'm not going to do within pro wrestling or politics or social issues or sports or anything like this, I'm not going to sit here and ever try to change your mind for two reasons. One, I don't have the energy to care enough. And two, if you are happy, then you're happy. I'm not here to take away your happiness. So I think the people, for example, that don't like when I'm critiquing AEW, they want it to be tribalism so bad. They want it to be, oh, he's anti-AEW, but they'll never go and actually seek the information as to why they lost me. So the thing is, when it comes to pro wrestling and when it comes to doing this YouTube stuff, and this is really the big thing, when it comes to everything that I do, is I'm not going to try and change your mind. Don't try to change mine. Don't tell me what to enjoy in this life because I'm not going to tell you what to enjoy in yours.
Here's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I see a lot of people, AEW is going to die. AEW is going under. AEW is going to fail. The fact that we talk about that, and I get it, people back in the day, WCW died, what the fuck ever. We live in a much different society now, and the society that we live in is, hey, I hate to break it to you, I care about the next human being. Call me fucking weird for it, but I care about the next person a little bit. I don't want to see the AEW go under. I don't want to see AEW fail because, hey, guess what that affects? Human beings with children.
It's so strange. So strange. Oh, my favorite is those sickos. They were hoping for Zeta Steel to get injured because she's a WWE ID talent.
That is so fucking weird.
She's wrestling Megan Bain.
That is so
They're not humans,
weird.
Bro. Not humans.
Like,
not
bro,
humans.
The fact that people can sit there and say these things about a person and just let that be like how they feel inside, like I can't process it. And I get a lot of comments over on TikTok or Instagram, wherever, where it's like, oh, because you think you have a microphone that you're better than somebody. No, I do not. I do not think because I have a microphone that I'm better than you. I just think that we should all think fucking rational for a moment.
Or just think for yourselves.
Yes. Just rationally think for you. It's not difficult.
I couldn't believe. I mean, the only reason why I'm even entertaining the conversation, because I do want to talk about Evolve and Dynamite, but like the only reason why I even want to entertain this conversation is what really, really bothered me was seeing people literally wish for Zeta Steel to get injured because she's versing Megan Bain at GCW. Like, how sick are you in the head, bro? How sick are you truly in the head to hope for that? And the thing is, like, that's the world that we live in. And the thing is, like, Tony Khan, by the way, haters to those people. So let me just make this perfectly clear on the record. I don't respect Tony Khan. I don't.
Okay.
I don't. That's the people you're catering to. That's who you want invested in your product. So, at some point, maybe as a CEO, he could have come out with a comment. Imagine if Tony Khan said, hey, this is a ridiculous tweet, tweet it out. Because he wants to tweet about a lot of other bullshit. Imagine seeing that tweet and he could have responded to it and been like, hey, this is very uncalled for. Probably a lot of people would have been like, damn, that's, this guy really is on Twitter and he really understands that, I don't know. Maybe you didn't see the tweet. I don't know. But I'm just saying, you want to cater to this hardcore audience that's wishing injuries upon others in the other company.
But hold on. Because I hear you. But what has Tony Khan done to technically cater to that audience? What has he personally done?
His tribalistic comments against WWE, his tribalistic
from many years ago.
From many years ago, he's always catered to them. His comments are not just about WWE, but the audiences and the bots and this and that in social media. He's catered to that. He has always catered to that. He caters to the Dave Meltzers of the world. So therefore, Dave Meltzer is not. You go asking any random person who watches pro wrestling and say, "Do you know who Dave Meltzer is?" Most will say no. But if they're a very hardcore fan, they'll say yes.
Yes. Yeah, of course.
So it's just the way that he does things. Yeah. I feel like I'm missing a super chat from Tolino channel, so I will have to find that.
Well, I know that both of us got a super chat on our channel for a decent amount.
Okay, I will take a look shortly. Tolino channel, angry Ango is a pipe bomb machine. Dude, the sad thing is I shouldn't be angry, and I'm not really angry, to be honest.
Yeah.
I can't really fathom the idea of so many people being just so ridiculously upset that I chose to watch Evolve. And the thing is, it's like, it's again, I mean, these people, I don't really put too much stock into what they say. I was having fun last night. A lot of people didn't know that I was fasting yesterday. So like 24 hours of not eating. Yeah, I was just like, I'm going to kill some time. And I'm sitting there going back and forth on Twitter. But, the thing is, you're mad. Again, what this really goes down to is you're mad that I don't like ketchup on my burger. You're mad that I don't like the Los Angeles Lakers, but I like the Pistons.
That I am mad about. I'm mad that you don't like ketchup on your burger.
Yeah, it's crazy. Really crazy. Crazy.
Very fucking weird if you don't like ketchup on your burger.
Yeah. But maybe
you're a shitty person.
See. Tolino channel, I'll find it. I'll look for it. I think the chat's just been moving too quick. Dwayne Jackson dropping a 50 bomb. He says, Ango, do you think TK doesn't want to sign because of his comments about AEW? I am not talking about promo between his match between Omega. He made comments about TK on how his talent on another interview before his match with Omega. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to read this for some reason. I don't know if I got like dyslexia or something. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm reading this correctly. Do you think TK doesn't want to sign because of his comments about AEW? I'm very, very confused. Hold on. Let me think for a second. I'm trying to think. What do you mean by this? Billy, can you help me out here? Do you know?
I'm trying. This is Dwayne. Nothing to you. If you just want to elaborate in the chat for us.
Yeah, can you do that, Dwayne?
Yeah, we just need some elaboration.
Oh, Gabe Kidd.
Thank
you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, right. Cool. So this makes now a lot more sense. Yeah. Gabe Kidd has been very outspoken about AEW.
Yeah.
Basically, what ended up happening was now he's on a per appearance deal with AEW.
Yes.
If Tony Khan is petty, you don't sign him. If Tony Khan's a smart businessman,
you sign him.
You sign him. Why? Because Gabe Kidd is incredibly talented and he's young and he's an up and coming star.
Like Speedball.
Gabe Kidd cuts amazing promos. He makes wrestling feel real. I think you should sign Gabe Kidd. I said this yesterday. One thing that really makes me enjoy Collision, which was really cool last week, was Gabe Kidd and Mark Briscoe.
Yeah.
With their like promo thing. So now they obviously got something set up there. So I like Gabe Kidd. I think what sells me about Gabe Kidd is the fact that it's like, okay, people aren't gonna like this, but like Ricochet to me doesn't feel authentic. So I see Ricochet's character, it doesn't feel authentic to me. It feels too choreographed. It feels a little too unnatural. It feels like Ricochet is trying too hard to be somebody that he's not, right? Gabe Kidd, since watching him in New Japan, makes me feel like, holy shit, that's just who he is. He's like an outspoken, like which, by the way, he's an incredible wrestler. Now, by the way, does anybody want to know how I learned about Gabe Kidd? Anybody want to know how I discovered Gabe Kidd? Because it was in New Japan.
How was it?
What Culture Pro Wrestling?
What culture?
WCPW, when they had a little wrestling promotion.
I remember.
I can't even tell you the whole thing. They had like a whole bunch of massive indie names. They had so many names, and Gabe Kidd was just like this young kid. I remember watching him being like, oh, this kid's fucking sick.
Yeah.
Then he became a young lion. Then he went to New Japan. Then obviously now we're here.
Right.
I think Tony Khan should sign him. I think Gabe Kidd should go to AEW. That unscripted nature of him, I can't imagine. I mean, WWE is starting to let people feel a little bit more unscripted, but Gabe Kidd's just one of those dudes with a promo. He's a fantastic in-ring wrestler, but he's got a great promo. It's the same thing that I said about Ospreay. People don't give Ospreay credit for his promos.
No,
when Ospreay and Gabe Kidd cut promos and they were doing the press conferences in New Japan, to me it felt real. It felt like UFC press conferences because that's how great they are on the mic. But a lot of people actually hated when I said that that Ospreay is a great promo because a lot of people were trying to shit on him. But I think Will Ospreay's a fantastic promo. I think Gabe Kidd's a fantastic promo. So if I were AEW, I don't really care if he was anti-AEW. I would bring him in and I would sign him full time. And I would do that before WWE does. Because I've said this before. TNA got some shit about it yesterday on my channel, and so did AEW. Don't be putting people on your TV show. You have a lot of you have a lot of people signed to your roster. Don't be putting people on your TV show that aren't signed to your company when you have other people not being used, because WWE is going to swoop in and sign them. And by the way, that's happened a lot of times, too many times.
It's the truth. It's the truth.
Dwayne, thank you so much for the 50 bomb. That was very, very nice of you. Thank you.
Shout out Dwayne.
Yeah. Phil dropping $9.99. He says, I watched Dynamite before the stream and the four things stood out. Mariah and Tony, the contract signing, Hangman and MJF, and Jay White pretty much confirming he'll turn heel. I just watched Evolve first. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch Dynamite. The only thing I saw from Dynamite was Hangman and MJF.
Very good stuff.
So I'll have to go on HBO Max and watch it, as I stated yesterday. But I can tell you right now, Jay White better not turn heel.
Mariah and Tony, that sit down segment with Renee was fucking fire. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's just not a feud that interests me anymore. I do Grand Slam.
I think this will be the last one.
Probably.
After seeing what I've seen, this will be the last.
Probably, but AEW Dynamite AEW Collision Grand Scam was like, that should have been the end of it right there. They didn't move on from it. That's just my personal opinion, but we'll see. If Jay White turns heel and he aligns with if they kick out Wheeler Yuta, but Jay White is part of the Death Riders.
They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. I actually think that Christian is going to cash in.
I don't want to talk about it too much because we'll do our Revolution paper predictions tomorrow. Yeah. I can tell you there's going to be a lot of people, if Cope or Christian hold the belt, they'll be happy that the Death Rider storyline ends, but they're going to be very upset with that.
I don't think it's for long, though. I definitely think this is just a filler. I don't know, something about AEW when I watched it yesterday, it felt like they were trying to revert back. And I think that comes in with the prominence of the MJF and Hangman storyline. So as much as we sit here and dog them or whatever the fuck, I think really what it comes down to is they are trying to revert back to a certain way that they had their product.
You know, AEW was best when they had their rankings.
And they can't just restart. That's the thing. You're right. They were best when they had their rankings. The thing about it is you can't just click the reset button and just do things and go back to the way it was. You can't do that logically. You have to put some effort in here.
I would disagree with you slightly, Billy, only for the simple fact that they did that when Samoa Joe won the world championship. And that was a really good, fun time for AEW when Samoa Joe got that world championship. They kind of pressed the reset button by giving him the belt.
Well, this is the thing. Right now, they're going to give it to Cope. And then you could possibly reset.
Yeah. Not sure if I would really want Cope as my world champion. But
you don't know that yet.
No, I do know that because everything he's done in AEW has not been interesting to me. And that pains me to say that because everybody knows that if it wasn't for Edge, there would be no Ango. I have the autograph, the title belt signed from when I was like 9 years old, saying that me and Edge and Tony were tag team champions. I still got that autograph. Okay. So I just don't like, I didn't like him towards his end of the run with WWE personally. I didn't really care. Honestly, the only thing I really liked about him was when he was in the Judgment Day, which is so funny because a lot of people didn't like that. But yeah. Hey. Shout out to Phil for the super chat. Dwayne followed up with the super chat. He says $2. I was talking about Gabe Kidd.
Okay.
Which I didn't even see this.
Shout out Dwayne.
Shout out Dwayne. You didn't have to drop another $2 just to tell me that, man.
We just needed some elaboration.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. But yeah, Gabe Kidd will be a great signing.
Yes.
Great signing. Dwayne followed up with that with a $5 super chat. He says, I predict Christian Cage will cash in his contract at Revolution. I mean, I'm glad that you guys think that way. Like, I'm glad it's kind of getting to the point where people are feeling that way. I love Christian Cage. I just think Christian Cage and Adam Copeland, I don't think that's really the world title feud that I want to see.
I don't think it'll be for the world title. I don't.
I mean, if Christian Cage cashes in, or do you do Hangman beating Ricochet and then, I'm sorry, Swerve beating Ricochet, and then Swerve gets the Christian Cage. Yep. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah. That's what I think they do.
I think that could be kind of fun.
The winner of that match gets to take on the world champion.
I mean, so far, Swerve has been...
You do it at Double or Nothing.
The way I look at it, and Billy, I know you might agree, you might disagree, because you had a different opinion than me with the Elimination Chamber prediction show.
Yeah.
Remember when I was talking about Drew McIntyre being like the MVP of the company and just holding it down?
Yes.
I feel like Swerve has been that for AEW. So I feel like Swerve, Hangman, MJF, like that's where the world title scene should be because that's the strongest part of television.
Kind of like we just said a moment ago. You have Swerve take the belt from Christian. You could do it at Double or Nothing. Eventually that leads back into Swerve and Hangman. And you could do that kind of reversed, and you have Hangman be the super baby face. You let him win it in Texas. Suddenly, Hangman Page is the world champion. AEW feels great again.
Or Tony Khan is so headstrong about Darby Allin that he brings Darby out. Like nothing changes until Darby Allin comes back. Which, by the way, if Jon Moxley's still holding the world title at Revolution, I'm telling you right now, for somebody like me, I'm just letting everybody know ahead of time. If I'm spending $50 on this pay-per-view and the Death Riders are standing tall with the belt at the end of the show, even though I don't want Christian Cage or Cope getting the belt, I don't like the direction they've gone here with this.
You have to reset here.
It has to be reset at this point. Death Riders is killing the company for me. So if I see Jon Moxley holding that world championship belt, if they don't do something massive, like I'm telling you guys right now, my opinion will not change on AEW.
Okay.
Oh, just saying. Ronnie Southern dropping a $50 super chat to Billy's channel. He says, as an example, WWE lost me for nearly a year when they released Bray Wyatt. I've come back, but that particular point of the time just rubbed me the wrong way. We all have different opinions about things, and there's nothing wrong with it. Yeah,
Ronnie, absolutely.
Bray Wyatt being released was like,
it felt like a jab, like you had just been jabbed.
You know, the thing that's so interesting too about professional wrestling is there's a lot of people who feel the same way as Ronnie.
Yeah.
Like when your favorite person's gone, like from television, like,
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
That's how I felt about Punk.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Dude, it was hard for me to invest in what WWE was doing. So when AEW brought him back, CM Punk is my favorite, if you guys can't tell already.
There's been times where Billy has kind of opened up and been vulnerable about it. Yeah. There's like a personal connection to it.
Yes.
We don't have to get into it, but CM Punk meant a lot to Billy. So as you guys can imagine, when CM Punk came back to AEW, even when I would tell Billy at times, like on the streams about, hey, like this wasn't really that good. Billy would be like, I know, but it's Punk. Like, so
Bro,
to
a
to
heavy
be
Punk
fair,
defender.
to be fair though, it makes sense. Continue.
So yeah, I mean, Ronnie, this is very true. When shit like that happens, it feels like a jab. So when Punk was gone, I felt like I had been jabbed. So when AEW brought him back, that's truth be told, like why AEW had never fully lost me, because there is a personal connection there as well, right? Because of what they did for me personally. And you're allowed to have personal feelings towards wrestling shows. You are. Nobody's saying that you're wrong for that, but AEW did something for me personally that I, truth be told, can't thank them enough for. Now, granted, you can argue how they used them. You could, whatever, you're allowed to do those things. But I'm forever grateful that I get to witness now my favorite pro wrestler be on TV all the time and get to enjoy my pro wrestling. And I think that's the beauty of pro wrestling that we all need to really look at.
So can I ask you a question?
Yeah, please.
And like legitimately too. So you see Punk on Raw every week.
Yeah.
And obviously he's part of a hot angle. You have definitely praised it.
Yes.
I've heard you sing your praises.
Yeah.
But was a part of you pissed off at Punk or pissed off at AEW when you saw the way he left the company?
So here's my thing. So number one, I had an inkling in my stomach. I was like, okay, I don't think he's actually done. I think he will go to WWE. That was an inkling that I had. Yeah. So I didn't really comment much on that situation itself, strictly based off the fact that I kind of figured, I was like, he's already back in wrestling, and knowing Punk and everything that he's done, it seems like he's not going away from it now. And obviously we've seen the regime change. And then I think prior to that, there was something about him being backstage at a Raw where he was hanging out. Vince had kicked him out or whatever.
Yeah.
So I had this kind of inkling in my stomach. So it wasn't necessarily to blame AEW or to blame WWE. Do I think people handled the situation wrong? Absolutely. I believe all of them handled it wrong, if I'm being 100% transparent and honest. I believe every single person that was a part of all that shit that happened were wrong, and everybody in some regard was at fault. I stand on that. I'm not going to change my opinion. But the thing about it is it's not to blame the company or to blame the person. It's just to be like, hey, no, this guy I figured, I was like, yeah, he's not done. So I wasn't really mad at AEW for how they handled the situation. I was just mad that it happened in the first place.
Okay, so then when they aired the footage, what was your reaction?
Oh, the backstage footage?
Yeah.
Of All In? Mm-hmm. Pettiness, for sure.
But it kind of led you to be disconnected from AEW, right?
For a moment there, yeah. I think I'll be upfront and honest. Yeah, it did. It pulled me away a little bit to the point to where I was like, that's a little too petty for me. I think
it rubbed you the wrong way.
Yes, and respectfully, right? Like, I don't think it's I get it. You understand what they were trying to do. It didn't stick. It's like throwing shit at a wall and hoping it sticks. It didn't. So it did. Me personally, because of, again, being a CM Punk fan and kind of going back to that, I'm like, why are we trying to tarnish this gentleman's name after he's gone? I do find that to be petty. Yeah. And I always have. And that's in any regard. I thought WWE was petty for the way that they handled in his first release.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of
course, everybody.
Yes, everybody. Everybody. So here's the thing. This world, nobody's fucking perfect. Everybody makes their own mistakes or whatever. Now, do we know if AEW regrets putting that footage out or not? I'm not 100% sure. You guys could know. I don't know. But regardless of the fact, it's like people make mistakes, and it doesn't seem to be a recurring theme anymore. So they've stepped away from that. Now it's focus on your show and make your show better, because your show, with all the talent that you have, can be great. And just because CM Punk's gone and I enjoy him on WWE doesn't mean that I'm not going to enjoy AEW, because I just enjoy wrestling. I enjoy storytelling. I enjoy all of those things. I can't be mad at this company because of what happened before. I'm just trying to lead and understand it now, if that makes sense.
So just as a kind of a point, piggybacking off that, but back to the super chat too, when Bray got released, I was pissed. Bray had become one of my favorite performers. Now, how did Bray become one of my favorite performers? How was it that Bray Wyatt became one of my favorite performers? It wasn't The Fiend. No, it wasn't. It wasn't even his main roster run. No, it was NXT when I got to discover him and Eric Rowan and Luke Harper.
Yeah.
So when you watch people from the beginning and you root for them, and you see them, what's your first thing that you start to think? You root for them. You want them to win. And when you see that they are gone from a company, it does disconnect you because it makes you hate the company.
For sure.
By the way, when they aired the footage, that was the turning point. Factually speaking, statistically speaking, that was 100% the turning point in AEW. So we can argue how cool AEW is. They could put the AEW could have The Rock turn on and John Cena turn on their program, but they alienated their audience.
Yes.
So thank you to Ronnie Southern for dropping a $50 super chat on Billy's channel.
That's awesome. I appreciate your guys' support over on my channel. You guys have been the shit over there. So I appreciate that.
On your marks, Lou dropping 10. He says it's disturbing when the sickos refer to AEW as we, us, or our. I'm sorry, but TK don't know you and don't care about you. TK created the tribalism. He and the sickos are a big reason why people soured on AEW. TK didn't create the tribalism, but TK and AEW definitely leaned into it.
So therefore, in some regard, influenced it.
I mean, for sure. And also Cody Rhodes is responsible for that.
Yes.
Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, they were all responsible.
Go back and watch
for
the Elite. Go back and watch the Elite.
Go back and watch Being the Elite. Go back and watch their announcement video of AEW, and they want to be the challenger brand. The difference was Tony Khan, even despite Cody leaving, continued to push that narrative of being a challenger brand and pushing that tribalism. And I think, to be honest with you, like, obviously Twitter is not real life. By the way, let me make it very clear. I don't really care what people put on Twitter. You could tweet as much as you want about me being pro WWE or this or that. But what I will say is this. The reason why it doesn't bother me is because at the end of the day, I don't think a lot of those people genuinely have the brain capacity to have the conversations that are needed when it comes to actually understanding people's way of thinking. So we can talk here, right? As you talk, as I talk throughout streams every day, we learn each other's way of thinking of what you're invested in, right? So I kind of made that point earlier with AEW. AEW, what attracted me about AEW? It was a sports-like presentation, not WWE light.
They did the ranking system, things of that.
Ranking system. I said it back in the day. I said anytime a wrestling company tries ranking system or tries to keep track of wins and losses, they eventually give up because it's too hard. If AEW can do it successfully, it's going to be the promotion that I absolutely love more than anything, because you could still do a ranking system and utilize that for storylines. You can utilize that to justify why matches are happening. Why happened? They didn't. There was people that weren't ranked getting title matches. There was title contender matches. So the thing is, the reality is, as much as people want to say, oh, AEW is a pro wrestling show, that's not true. AEW is a sports entertainment just as much as WWE, because the sports element that they have, having your slogan being "we're the best wrestle" doesn't make you a sports product. It's how you actually produce your matches. So Tony Khan, I've said this, my praise for Tony Khan has always been fantastic matchmaker. That's not you'll never see me argue that. I think he knows as somebody who historically watched a lot of wrestling, he knows which guys will go in the ring and produce magic. That's why AEW has better wrestling matches than WWE. However, you don't have that sports element attached to it anymore. So therefore, I'm not invested in it. So now you're trying to do the stories and the characters, and you're trying to do that. And I don't think you're doing it consistently well. You do it good once in a while, but you don't do it consistently well. The argument could be made that WWE does it consistently every week. This is the reason why Otis, now holding a world championship, now holding a mid-card championship, is still over with the crowd, because he's good in the ring. He goes and has a chop battle with Gunther, and people like him. So they're like, damn, bro, we want more from him. Now it's WWE's job to continue to progress these guys up the ranks, so that way they take advantage of that. The same reason why the IWC gets really mad about Jey Uso not being the best wrestler, but he's got the catchphrase, he's got the entrance, he's got the promos, he's got the emotions. Jey Uso is a good performer, but Jey Uso is not a Will Ospreay in the ring. Not a big deal, because WWE emotionally will get me invested by producing a good storyline with him and Gunther. They had Gunther choke out Jey Uso when Jey Uso was coming out like a white meat baby face, coming out to make the save, and then he just got his ass beat. So now they're naturally getting me invested in what he can do. And that's really what it's about. It's about getting people emotionally invested. I am not emotionally invested in the sport of basketball. I'm emotionally invested in my ties to the Detroit Pistons. So when the Detroit Pistons have a great game and I see them making great plays, I'm very happy. When Pistons play bad or they lose, I'm not emotionally happy. But how do they keep me invested? Because they're winning more games. Last year they sucked. This year they're a 4th seed. So the thing is, if you're going to be a sport-like product, you got to do the same thing that the Pistons are doing. You got to get me invested in those wrestlers that are wrestling. And that's why AEW had me in the beginning. And I feel like they changed their vision. I feel like their vision got distorted and blurry. But it shouldn't change anything other than the simple fact that my opinion will obviously change with it, because what hooked me in was different from WWE. And I was like, okay, that's cool. I can still enjoy my WWE and then do this. Now they've leaned too much into trying to be like WWE, and you're not doing it as well as I think WWE is. So therefore I can't be as invested. I love the fact that Tony Storm is a great character. I've said Tony Storm has the best character in professional wrestling, right? He's done great stuff. But now who are they building up to really feud with her in a way that gets me invested? There's no emotion tied to any of her challenges. So that's why I can't be invested in Tony Storm, right? It's important that we make those notes, because if I don't make those notes and I just say these things, then the super chat becomes what everybody pushes, which is the tribalism thing. But it's not tribalism. It's just a matter of understanding how somebody views things. You could disagree, but you can't call it tribalism. You can't call it, whatever. Like I'm soured on AEW because they no longer cater to me. And I'm going to go back to the example. If Billy was interested in a pizza, but he went to a pizza shop and they're trying to sell him a burger, you're going to get fucking tired of being offered a burger. No, brother, I want the best pizza that you can make. Right?
Yep.
It's the easiest analogy, because you would never go somewhere and ask for something and then accept when they're trying to give you something different. You know what you like, you know what you want. Just give me what I want. And AEW doesn't do that. And there's times when WWE doesn't do it, even under Triple H. But the thing with WWE is they have 3 shows. If 2 of the shows are keeping me 100% invested, and there's quite a few segments on one show, but not everything is perfect, I'm okay with that. But if you're giving me shows where 1 or 2 things are good and it's 2 hours long, I'm just going to care to watch those 2 things, because you're not doing anything otherwise.
Fair.
Shout out to On Your Marks Lou for the super chat. Sorry guys, I know we're kind of just talking, but that's what happens on this channel, man. We just
dive. I mean, it was supposed to be Evolve and AEW,
and we'll get to that. We'll get to that. I promise. Yeah. Brian McHattie dropping 10. He says Death Rider storyline feels too vague and too open-ended to hold interest and to be compelling. There is no real target besides everyone and no real known goal. That's been my issue with Death Rider storyline.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we've talked about numerous times.
It honestly has become tiresome talking about the Death Rider storyline, because nobody has ever really explained to me why it's good or why they feel like it's good. I think the problem with the Death Rider storyline was that it started off so hot. And again, this is coming from somebody who likes these kind of storylines. So I was excited initially, but you don't really have a real goal. You don't really have a babyface being built to end the Death Rider storyline. You need that in professional wrestling. You need that big baby face making the chase to save the company from disaster. Just like right now with Cody Rhodes, he faced adversity, and then it was a 2-year build. They groomed Cody to be that baby face, so when he beats Roman, it's a massive deal. They haven't done that with the Death Rider storyline. So the fact is, and by the way, when you see that it's Cope, or it could be Christian or Jay White, like Jay White would have been a perfect baby face to do it with. Will Ospreay would have been a perfect babyface to do it with. Like, they have the guys on the roster to do it, but they haven't built it that way. So me personally, it's hard for me to be compelled to the storyline. And the thing is that I really want to mention about the Death Rider storyline too, is at some point when you see something is not working, you don't double down or triple down on it, because there's so much confusion regarding the physical storyline. Like, people are confused by the Death Riders. People are confused. So, like, for example, Billy, when I praised Retribution, why? Because I was like, man, they're just going off on everybody.
Yeah.
It's like this anti-company thing. Now, obviously, the vision got distorted. The vision got blurry. Maybe it was Fox or WWE TV partners not wanting it. I don't even remember at this point. But it became something that was so cool at first to what? Like, what? Oh, hold on. You just put weird masks on Mia Yim and Dijak and like gave them Slapjack.
Slaps.
You just gave people random names. Like, okay, hold on. You went from doing something really cool to like making it a parody. That's literally how Death Riders feels to me. Like it became like a parody, honestly. Like, oh, we're here to save the company. What? We don't like what the company is. We're going to get the company back on track.
There was a big stigma around it, especially with the Shane McMahon stuff, and everybody thought that could potentially be a thing. And, that would have worked, I thought. And then once that didn't happen, it was like, okay, you kind of lost me on this storyline. Again, doesn't mean you can't fix it later down the line. And I think you have to let the Death Riders thing go and go from there.
It was very apparent very soon that they had to end it. Yeah. And they did it. Yeah. And they kept it going. And you just don't do that. You don't do that. And by the way, what did I say on the NXT review thing? Hey, bro, where's this new faction that caused destruction? It was such a cool debut. What's your follow-up? Right. So then it's like, don't lose me here either, because you just got me excited. How you follow up is important, bro. It's such a big deal. Such a big deal. Shout out to Brian McCaddy for the 10. Miles Joubert Roberson dropping 2. Evolve was a nice change in addition to WWE. I loved it. So let's talk about Evolve for a second.
Yeah.
To me, I felt like I was watching FCW.
It felt like that for sure.
It felt like FCW. That's what I wanted. It's not overproduced. The only thing I didn't like about Evolve was they did that segment when Shawn Michaels basically saying, hey, Ava is running, she's the boss, right? Mm-hmm. Which is cool because she's the GM for NXT as well, so it makes sense. Yeah. And the one thing I didn't like though was I see Jack Cartwheel and all these talents like standing there being introduced to Shawn Michaels and stuff, and they're just like super excited. They're just like, well, I'm so happy to be here. To me, I just didn't like that. To me, it was like, okay, that felt really forced.
There was definitely some corniness behind it. Yeah,
for sure. But I liked how when they did Evolve, I thought commentary shockingly was really good with Peter Rosenberg.
Would get fired.
I was shocked. I did not expect that.
Hey, listen, I'm a hip hop fan, diehard hip hop fan. So, hey, Hot 97. I've known Peter Rosenberg's got it. I've known that. That guy, he has got it. You let him talk, you're into something good.
Yeah. I enjoyed Evolve for a multitude of reasons. Commentary was great.
Can we talk about how we got Trill London?
Trill London, bro. Holy shit. I was telling you this earlier too, so I'm going to say it on stream. Yeah. I see Trill London on the show, and he jobs out basically to Keanu Carver, I think was his name.
Keanu Carver.
This guy comes out, dope ass mask for his entrance. He's got like the bulletproof vest. His attire is like the long shirt with the pants, like baggy pants. I see this guy, Trill London, used to play for the Miami Dolphins. First of all, I think the name is fucking sick, to be honest. I do. I think Trill
going to Ricky Starks.
I wouldn't have been mad, bro, because I think Trill London is a sick name.
It's a fire name.
But I see this guy walk out, bro. He makes his entrance, and like as soon as he gets in the ring, I'm like, bro, this kid fucking reminds me of Jeff Hardy. Something about him, like just it reminded me.
He was wearing too. If you look at
the shirt and the pants, I was like, bro, this dude, like he's got like a cool look. I'm like, oh my god, I feel like he's inspired by Jeff Hardy. Yeah. And sure enough, which I like this about Evolve. This was really cool for Evolve to do this. But on the lower third graphics, during the matches and entrances, they would kind of tell you some fun facts about these people, which, by the way, guys, for many of the people that were on the show, I was being introduced for the first time. Some of these people may have shown up on NXT Level Up. I know Carly Bright and the other girl were on TNA at one point, but like as far as like who they are as people, those lower third graphics kind of saying this. And they said that for Trill London, he was like influenced or aspired by Jeff Hardy, whatever it was. So I thought that was really dope because I was like, in my head, I'm thinking, ooh, this guy reminds me a little bit of Jeff, which is so cool. His entrance, the way like he's moving and shit, I was like, oh, I like it. And then Keanu Carver smashes him. And I just watched right there. I was like, okay, this guy is fucking cool. Like he is so cool. I cannot wait to watch this guy actually get an opportunity on NXT programming eventually.
Who I was a big fan of? Who was the girl in the beginning? At the end of the match when they did like that little post segment after they won the first match. What was her name? God, why can't I think of her name off the top of my head? But because the one girl was talking about like, oh yeah, like we're gonna be the trivia question and things of that nature, and then the other girl was like, I'm not trying to be no damn trivia question.
Yeah, I don't even remember all the names. I don't remember all the names.
I don't remember her name. So God forbid. Again, don't come for me because I don't remember her name. Oh, Kelly Armstrong. Okay, thank you. So yeah, I really liked her attitude. She seemed legit.
Oh, I mean, dude, you could already tell who has promise.
Yeah.
Kelly Armstrong already has promise. Just even in the match, the way she works is really good too. And then also one thing like, and I'll talk about him because I've seen him in GCW several times, but Jack Cartwheel.
Yes,
he was sick. Honestly, I was like, even when AEW kind of had him doing like the AEW Dark and ROH stuff, I was shocked that AEW never signed him because athletically he is really gifted. I don't know how he's gonna translate as far as character, but
it might have been Carly Bright because they won the first match. It was Kendall.
I can't remember all the names, bro.
I can't either.
That's a good thing though. I'm glad I can't remember the name. Like, right. Your job. But Trill London and Keanu Carver were really, really dope.
Fire.
Also, too, what I will say regarding Evolve, Brad Baylor. I never seen this dude before, but when he got his WWE ID contract, he was doing his like little videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like 18, 19-year-old kid talking about bagging shorties and shit and like Tinder and stuff.
Yeah.
And now they have the 6-man tag match. Swipe right, yeah. And I was like, okay, to me, this kind of feels like a Grayson Waller, Miz like type of thing. But I think what's really interesting is you see these people, so like Brad Baylor. Now I'm like, okay, he's very interesting and he's young. He's so young. So I like this. And I'm like, okay, I want to pay attention to him. Keanu Carver was really dope. Bro, Cappuccino Jones. I remember seeing his name on WWE ID and like, what kind of fucking name is that? But dude, like these guys are good. So the thing about Evolve is now we're watching people get an opportunity to become stars. Yes. And so for me, what I loved about Evolve was the fact that it felt so much like FCW. These people are not going to keep their names, bro. Like Trill London is a little bit different because WWE trademarked that, right? But like Jack Cartwheel, if he signs with WWE, if they give him a contract like fully, they're probably going to repackage him. Brad Baylor might get repackaged because that was common back in the FCW NXT days. You always got repackaged until you found something that worked.
Yeah.
So it was really cool watching the beginning stages for a lot of these people. And I've always, that's always been me. When NXT was 1 hour long on WWE Network, like that's what I wanted to watch, bro. And there was that super chat earlier from Tolino Channel where he talked about like CJ Parker. Bro, you can't talk about Juice Robinson without knowing who CJ Parker was. Right. You can't talk about CJ Parker and Juice Robinson without acknowledging that Kevin Owens broke his nose in a match. And it literally became a defining moment where it was like, oh, this guy is fucking sick. Right. And at some point, he's going to be a star. And then he gets released by WWE and he's kind of petty towards WWE. Go out there and show us that you could be something big. Okay, he goes to New Japan and Ring of Honor. Now he's in AEW. He's fucking awesome. So I always loved that FCW early NXT stuff because to me, it was like, I want to see what these people could turn out to long term. Right. And with WWE using Evolve as a way to say, hey, we'll get NIL talent and we'll get ID talent. Bro, that's great. And then actually I saw Phil mention in the chat, he's like, and then we saw a nice cameo from Luca.
Yeah.
Luca Crucifino is not somebody that's highly experienced, but he's on NXT TV and he does a great job of portraying a character. Put him on Evolve sometimes. Let him wrestle sometimes. Let him do his thing, you know? Let him do his thing, and then let us see what you could do. And listen, eventually Tony D'Angelo is going to go to the main roster. Do you bring the entire family, or do you just bring D'Angelo and Ariana Rizzo and Stacks? Yeah. But like, you do that, and then hey, maybe Luca Crucifino going from the lawyer gimmick to maybe they find something in Evolve NXT that works, and he breaks away from them, and holy shit, this guy could be a singles guy now, right? Yeah. You don't know what's going to work, but Evolve could take you there, and I like that a lot.
For sure. I agree.
Miles followed up with that and said, thoughts on Ava being called boss, the tease on Evolve. There was a story that I talked about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago that they're trying to create more of a character for Ava, and they might lean in.
Starting to work.
We'll see what happens. I don't know. I think she's a good GM for NXT. We'll see what happens. I don't think she's going to be heavily involved with Evolve, but the cool thing about Ava that I will say is this Evolve essentially replaces Level Up. The stories didn't really take place on Level Up. So I love the fact that within Evolve,
they're going to try and tell stories.
They are.
Yeah.
So it's not just, hey, we're going to put people on wrestling matches in front of a crowd. It's going to be, we're choreographing stories and characters and stuff like that. And then obviously we'll eventually have the Evolve World Championships. So like, to me, I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. What pisses me off, though, I do have a complaint. We know there's going to be an Evolve Championship, and then Triple H revealed the WWE ID Championships.
Yeah.
So
the Evolve Championship could have just been the ID Championship.
Yeah, that's how I kind of looked at it. But we'll see. Maybe the WWE ID titles are kind of like your mid-card titles for Evolve.
Maybe,
and then they have a men's world championship and a women's world championship.
Yeah, and the mid-card championships are the one that travel.
Yeah. And then obviously I would have to assume you do a tag team championship at some point. Maybe. Right. I don't know. I don't think they're going to go too deep just yet. I think they're going to build upon it.
Because it is only a 1 hour show.
Yeah. Eventually, though, they will expand.
Yes.
Yeah. Dwayne Jackson dropping 20. He says, my problem with AEW's pay-per-view model is that why is AEW 2 charging $50 while being on Max? Being a Max subscriber, why is customers having to pay the subscription and pay the pay-per-view? The customer is paying double premium content.
Can I go here?
Yeah.
So I actually I made a video yesterday talking about how important this weekend was for AEW. And I also kind of brought up that how they've gone to Amazon Prime, and they're now my biggest gripe was that they had an opportunity here to at least lower the price a little bit. I think AEW kind of fumbled an opportunity here to even if you, because $50 is a lot, even if you do kind of what TNA was doing, $39.99 a month, I don't think many people would complain. People would still complain, but not as much. You know what I mean? If they went away from that, something about $50 in that like price margin, just it seems off. So I feel like AEW kind of failed what was and could have been a really good opportunity to eliminate that standard there.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it.
My thought process is this. We can't talk about AEW on Max yet because it hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So until it happens, I can't talk about it because they haven't revealed the price. Right now, $50 plus paying for Prime is ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
However,
it is ridiculous.
However, you don't have to pay for Prime.
No, you can just order the pay-per-view.
Yeah. It's just another outlet, which is good.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with more outlets.
However, what I will say is this, though. If they are 100% doing the AEW pay-per-views on Max, which, by the way, I don't think will happen. For some reason, I have a very strong feeling it's not going to happen. I feel like they're too quiet about it. But I think $50 for pay-per-views is...
You got to go away from that price point. You have to.
Okay. This is the truth. I don't care how rich you are. I don't care how poor you are.
Yeah.
AEW and WWE do a lot of pay-per-views. I think $50 on pay-per-views really, in my opinion, is kind of dumb. However, WWE delivers a bad pay-per-view You pay $10 for Peacock or
You don't really
internationally pay for
complain about
Netflix. You can't, right?
No, not at a
You didn't pay for it.
Not at an $8 price point.
Yeah, right. Okay. You pay $50 for an AEW pay-per-view and it's 6 hours long and there's 13 matches and you're tired and you're bored, you might fall asleep. Or you really liked it, right? Still spend $50 for it.
For sure.
So there's a chance that you could be disappointed or there's a chance you could be really happy. But if you're one of the people that are disappointed, your $50 now feels like you got cheated. Now, let me just make one thing very clear. You have to think about everybody from an economic standpoint around the world, and everybody has a lot of different, priorities in life. I think for AEW fans and WWE fans, I think if your life is dedicated to professional wrestling and you love wrestling, right? And you're going to spend $50, like this is the same thing about WWE ticket sales. If you're going to charge a lot of money for tickets, you sure as hell better be delivering them great shows.
For sure.
Like if I spent $1,000 at Elimination Chamber to be there, I would be very happy with my experience because of that. It was such a great show. But if I spent $1,000 to be at Bad Blood, I'd feel like I was ripped off. So you got to be very careful with how you price things. That's the big thing.
You do.
And
it's very important.
So, and then by the way, let me just make this very clear. UFC pay-per-views are more than these. They're like $79.99, $80, something like that. Sometimes boxing pay-per-views are like $100, depending on which one it is too. I can tell you right now, you know what I didn't complain about? Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson for free on Netflix.
Yeah, no.
But if you charged me $100 for Jake Paul and Mike Tyson on ESPN Plus for $100 or pay-per-view, whatever,
I'm probably gonna feel some type of way about it.
I'm gonna feel some type of way about it, right?
Yep.
So that's what you have to understand is perspective matters. And with UFC, there's been plenty of times where I've bought UFC pay-per-views because I do gatherings with people and we have watch parties with 20 people and we drink and we have food and snacks and whatever.
Most people pitch in.
It's not that big of a deal. But if I was paying $100 for a pay-per-view or $80 for a pay-per-view by myself, I could certainly tell you for UFC, I wouldn't do it because I don't think their pay-per-views are that great. Their headliner might be great. Their co-main event might be great, but not their main event, not their whole card. So it's different, right? I would have, perspective matters. I think when you're in wrestling, I think you have to look at, there's two different markets. There's the WWE option where it's just included in Peacock. And I can tell you right now, they can give you the shittiest WrestleMania of all time. And you could be mad about the contents of it, but you can't sit there and be like, I feel ripped off. You didn't. You didn't
get ripped off.
You're spending $8 a month for a pay-per-view or whatever. So I think that's important to mention, right? Like
for sure.
It's very important that you look at your audience very clearly. Now, by the way, I've said this I said this so many fucking times on this channel. I always said, even when AEW TV sucks, $50 for an AEW pay-per-view, you get your bang for your buck. Actually, I've even gone farther than that. I said, go and get a flight, go get a hotel, and go to the show yourself. That's what I did for several years because they were just fun. The energy was crazy. There's a reason why I haven't done it in 2.5 years. But at that time, I said it, right?
Fair, yeah.
Very adamant about that. So yeah, you just got to be careful how you price things out. You could be pricing out the thing about pricing that people never want to actually admit is you could be pricing people out of buying your product. And I can tell you right now, if we looked at pay-per-view buys for AEW, I'm going to assume very clearly that AEW is not getting they were before.
No.
So that probably has a lot to do with the fact that they've alienated an audience and yada, 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 yada.
Agreed.
Shout out to Dwayne for the $20 super chat. Appreciate you, bro. There was another $20 super chat from Dwayne. I did not see this. Wow. The selling point was AEW content going to Max along with pay-per-views like the WWE has. They had 3 years to get it right and they still haven't got it right. Then what was the purpose of going to Max with no pay-per-views? So the thing is, they are going to Max and they are going to have
the pay-per-views on there, but
you're going to have to pay for them. I think the issue is they don't have the ecosystem to actually do it on the platform.
That's the problem. They don't have the ecosystem yet.
Yeah. Now, for AEW, what's really cool about pay-per-view buys is that it's an additional revenue stream.
Yeah.
So the good news is that is additional revenue stream. However, if your content is very valuable, like Peacock feels with WWE, then they would put all the pay-per-views on Max for no additional charge. But by the way, the reason why it's not like that, apples to apples, is because I can guarantee, like I know for a fact that AEW, it's just because of they're too, like they're too far apart on the grand scale of things. I can certainly say with confidence that Warner Bros. Discovery probably isn't getting hundreds of subscribers every single day because of AEW.
Yeah.
Or thousands of subscribers because of AEW. Right?
No.
I think when WWE Network closed, I think that was very parallel with the experience where they left the WWE Network, we're going to go to Peacock.
Yep.
And when they went to Peacock, it was like, okay, we're going to get a whole bunch of subscribers. And by the way, this is how the streaming business works for those who don't understand. Go look at Netflix. Why did Netflix not put every episode of Raw on the
catalog?
Yeah, why? Because they don't want you signing up for $10 a month or $15 a month or $8 a month. And then you're like, you just watch it and then you get rid of your subscription. Yeah. So they keep you waiting, they keep you paying for it. And then slowly but surely they put more and more and more on there.
Yep.
But with Peacock, it's different. If you want to watch WWE pay-per-views in the United States, you got to have that Peacock subscription. Yep. So Peacock looks at their numbers and they're like, damn, a lot of people watch WWE pay-per-views. 2 million people, 3 million people. I don't know what the number is. I'm just throwing out random numbers. Yeah, but they look at that and they're like, these people are subscribed to us because of WWE. Now can we get them in with other movies, other content, other sports, whatever?
Yep.
So that's how you got to look at it. I don't think AEW adds enough value to Max. I think Max does more for AEW, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But that's probably why it's not included in the price.
Yep.
If they're smart when they do roll this out, as they say, because they say in 2025 it's supposed to happen. If they're smart, I don't know what the cost of Max is. I think I spend 15 or 20 bucks.
I think it's somewhere in that, maybe 15 bucks.
If the pay-per-views go from $50 to let's say $30 because of your Max subscription, worth it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's fine. Because that means you're getting discounted between two, right?
Right.
But if not, then obviously that's problematic.
Right.
Oh, shout out to Dwayne Jackson for the super chat. Richard Cohn dropping $10. He says, hey, Ango Billy, Tony the Schmuck has to fix his crap. It sucks very bad. I love wrestling. I loved it for 55 years. Tony doesn't know how to write stories. I'm gonna assume you meant stories when you wrote that.
No, I think he meant stories.
It's not that he needs to learn how to write stories. He needs to learn how to do it consistently. I'll die on that hill.
Just make it good for everybody. That's it.
It's all about consistency, man.
For sure.
Across the board.
For sure.
Across the board. And it's that's the big thing, man. You got to do it across the board. You can't.
Yeah, you can't just pick one or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me go. I know I told you guys the Tolino channel dropped a super chat and I missed it. Because the chat was moving so fast.
Poor Tolino channel, man.
But I'll never forget Tolino channel because
homeboy is gonna ride or die for this channel, man.
Yeah, so I found it. I went to the dashboard and I found it. So I'm gonna put like a text prompt. Let me put this super chat. I'm a good guy. I didn't want to forget about him.
You guys want me to beatbox?
No.
You're a hater, bro.
Okay, this was actually 200 rupees, I think. Yeah, 400. That's okay. We're going to fix that.
Look at this guy.
Well, no, because I put 400. But Tolino channel did drop a super chat, which, by the way, if you guys have any more super chats you guys want to drop, go ahead and get those in now because we'll be responding to them. Tolino channel said, I'm not an AEW fan. When he said it, he is going to detox IWC from his mind and invest in his time for the product. That's the mindset of a normal viewer. The final take is I am satisfied. Am I satisfied? AEW needs to hear them. Yeah, I think really the big thing that for AEW, which you need to realize, and this applies to WWE too, for all wrestling companies, you got to satisfy a lot of viewers. You can't satisfy every viewer, right? You're not going to be 100% on the board satisfying everybody.
You just have to find out who you want to satisfy.
Yes. I think WWE is more open to trying to satisfy the hardcore viewer than AEW is trying to satisfy that casual mainstream viewer. And I think that's a difference maker in WWE and the way they produce their shows. It's the reason why they've built their women's division around Io Sky, right?
Yeah.
It's the reason why they've built it around Gunther. There's a reason why they've built it around those people, while at the same time also catering to the people that like Jey Uso or the people that like LA Knight, right?
Yeah.
LA Knight is not some incredibly gifted in-ring wrestler, but he's good enough in the ring and a great character. So really what it comes down to is that you got to try to satisfy as many people as possible. If you want to stick to one audience, that's fine. You can stick to one audience, but you're not going to grow.
Facts.
You're not, because the ceiling for that audience is not big.
Yeah, you can't give yourself a ceiling. You can't. It's horrible. It's a horrible business strategy.
Yeah. Shout out to Tolino Channel for all those super chats, by the way. I want to throw this one up here. Because this is a big deal.
Okay.
If you are a big WWE fan, don't go to shows and spend that money on AEW pay-per-views. Okay.
Yeah.
That mentality is why they're not growing. And by the way, that's the mentality that's pushing people away.
Sure.
Just so you know, just so you're aware, Pete, I see you in the chat. At this point, I do feel like you're a troll, which is fine. You're allowed to. I mean, whatever, do whatever the hell you want.
What's he been in the chat doing?
Just spewing a lot of nonsense. But it's
might be a troll.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I should take you serious, but telling people not to go to AEW shows is the opposite of what.
Yeah, that's like.
Tony Khan would probably be very upset with you. You're probably hurting more than you're helping.
I'm upset with him. I'm upset with him as, again, somebody who watched AEW and enjoyed that shit yesterday, but also enjoyed WWE.
Yeah.
So what? I can't go? I'm not welcome to the cookout?
Well, I'm just saying, wouldn't you want people to like?
Yeah, I want people back. I want to talk about AEW with everybody, but not in a fucking crazy way.
I just think like, I don't know, man. I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, this is not complicated, guys. It's so tiresome. Honestly, it's so sad and really pathetic, but you guys should want the companies to do better. And it's so hard for people to get invested in something. It's like if Billy was bothering me every day, bro, please watch Outer Banks. Please watch Outer Banks. I'm like, Billy, I just don't like it. And then Billy's like, but dude, it's really good. And I'm like, but yeah, I watched the first 2 seasons, man. I just wasn't feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay, but I promise you the 3rd season really picks up. If I go and do it and I like it, Outer Banks should be fucking on their knees thanking Billy. But the problem is that's not how it works in professional wrestling. In professional wrestling, it's like, oh, you don't like it? Well, then fuck you.
Right. And that's a problem.
And honestly, like, to be honest, I'm not really going to entertain these conversations. I know this has been a fun stream, but I genuinely won't entertain those conversations moving forward. Because I think really what it comes down to is like, it's just disingenuine.
Yeah, I mean,
it's disingenuine.
I think. Okay, here's the thing: is people can choose to clip this stream. They can choose to do whatever they want, regardless of the fact. I think Ango and I have very much made our point and got our point across. Just go touch some grass.
Man, it's not even about touching grass. It's just don't be so mad because people don't like what you like. I don't know like why that's such a big deal. I don't.
Now, I will tell you this. I'm going to watch AEW on Wednesday. I'm going to do the same thing I did again. And I'm going to come back on Wednesday and I'm going to tell everybody if they followed up or not.
So here's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
From a storyline perspective, right? You would have to be an idiot to sit here and be like, the first episode of WWE Evolve smashed AEW Dynamite.
Right.
Just so everybody is aware. So I'm very aware of that, right?
Yeah.
I understand from like a content perspective, but with what I personally am interested in, yeah, I'm going to choose Evolve. And by the way, they had one opportunity. WWE had one opportunity last night to make sure that I could tune in the following week.
Yeah.
So now they successfully did that.
Yep.
And you guys will see, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 7 months, maybe my opinion on Evolve changes.
People are allowed to have a change of opinions. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And it's going to be so funny when that time comes, because inevitably, just so you guys know, they're not going to be perfect. But I'm always going to choose the show that prioritizes that. That's what I like. That's why I watched FCW. I watched FCW and NXT, and I didn't watch Raw and SmackDown.
Yep.
I remember a lot of people actually don't know this. I was on spring break when John Cena and The Rock had their first match at WrestleMania. A lot of people didn't know that I didn't watch WWE at that time. A lot of people didn't know that I only watched TNA
at that time.
Yeah, actually, I remember being on spring break and my brother texted me, he goes, John Cena versus The Rock, WrestleMania. You want to watch it when you get back? And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be back in time.
Yeah.
My friends they want to go to a sports bar and watch it. And I was like, I'm straight on that. I don't care. Because that's how much WWE had lost me at the time.
Yeah, because at that time, it was a real rough patch. I mean, they were booming, but it was a rough patch.
But The Rock and John Cena was the biggest match of all time at that time.
Yep.
So once in a lifetime.
Yep.
I watched NXT. I watched like the old like FCW stuff, you know.
Yeah.
That was what I was watching around that time. I always watched the developmental. I always watched the outside stuff.
Love it.
WWE never really hooked me in until many years later. And 2016, 2017 WWE.
Is when they got me back. SmackDown Live
really changed the game for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't even realize I wasn't even, as a content creator, I was just making WWE 2K content and wrestling game content. I didn't like talking about the shows. And then it was really funny because I remember SmackDown got really, really good. So I started watching again. And then sure enough, 2019, 2020, pandemic era, WWE sucked. A couple of good things here and there, obviously, but at the time, watching in real time, I was just, COVID wrestling was not for me.
Yeah.
AEW was doing a really good job, but there was things I didn't like about them. And so I was pretty much bought out. Like I dropped out of that shit. And then you got to remember Triple H got into power and I was like, ooh, this is like a real change. Like this is like
the shit that we have been looking for.
Yeah. So
I rocks with it.
Lino Channel dropping another super chat.
What a damn guy.
Did you watch Vicar Busted Open interview? He explains how she views the business and relevance of titles. Yeah, her interview was really, really good with Bully.
I didn't watch
it. Very good. And she, Stephanie Vicar was one person that got a lot of flack on the internet because she didn't choose AEW. She chose WWE.
She said that WWE was her dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, bro, that's how it is. And by the way, just so you know, there's very few people in AEW who, a lot of people don't understand this, but there's very, very few people in AEW who wouldn't take the chance to go to WWE right now if Triple H and WWE called.
Yeah.
Very few people.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that people need to realize. A lot of people really, really, really don't get this, but the truth is a lot of people look at WWE as the end all be all goal. The good thing is they don't have to be, because Tony Khan's rich, because TNA is thriving, because they're backed by a company who supports them. MLW and NWA have ownership of people that are like trying to do this long term. So the healthy wrestling industry is good.
Yep. Healthy wrestling industry allows people to have jobs, and it allows us to do what we.
I don't know why the NWA sickos never come after me though. I bury that product more than anything.
NWA.
I literally do. I bury the NWA even more.
Yeah.
I literally talked about Natalia going there, and I was like, well, the only chance that they have of getting me to stay after Natalia shows up is if they have a really good show. Which, by the way, I have zero confidence in Billy Corgan and the NWA.
Jesus.
Zero confidence. And I've been very adamant about that. I've tried so many times to get into it, I can't. So, but they're going to have Natalia there, and I'm going to watch it because I like Natalia. I'm a fan of Natalia. So I want to see what they do on the Crockett Cup. And hey, maybe Billy Corgan does something really, 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 really cool.
Yeah.
So
maybe.
But I bury NWA more than AEW, and the NWA sickos don't come after me. I don't know. I will say that this was a very fun, very cool live stream. I feel like We just really talked.
Cuffs, yeah.
So shout out to all of you. Shout out to Billy. Shout out to everybody in the chat who is so genuine and so nice and so open-minded and so awesome and so valuable. Shout out to David Primero, who is coming out with a super chat right now for $4.99. He says, what do you think about WWE 2K25 game adding celebrities and basketball players to the game as DLC instead of NXT stars and legends? Oh, this is really fun. This is a really fun question because, guys, I'm going to be live streaming WWE 2K25 and I can't wait for it because it's going to be really, 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 really fun. So I guess I could talk about this really quick. And then Billy, you could actually talk about it because you're not the biggest gamer, but you're also a consumer. So,
and I'm actually going to purchase it this year and actually try and get into it.
Yeah. So, people are really mad about WWE 2K25. They're going to have celebrities and basketball players added to DLC. They haven't revealed who it's going to be. So
Tyrese Halliburton, probably.
Maybe Jalen Brunson, which is so easy because all they got to do is just take them from NBA and move them to WWE.
It's very simple.
They could pour them over. I think the DLC is so good this year that adding the celebrities is just a bonus.
Yeah, this is fire.
Yeah. Yes. And that's why I'm not mad about celebrities and basketball players. Celebrities, it would be really cool if Travis Scott gets added because he's on WWE.
Jelly Roll will probably get added.
Yeah, like Jelly Roll, Travis Scott, maybe I Show Speed, maybe KSI. I'm cool with all of those. But dude, they have Abyss. They have the Motor City Machine Guns, Julia, Stephanie Vaquer. They have so many people. And to be fair, yeah, Penta's in the game, bro. Bull Nakano's in the game. Like, they've done such a good job with this DLC that I think people are just fake mad, honestly. I think there's like this fake outrage.
Well, it's wanting to shit on 2K for what they've done in the past. It's just the easy target.
It's because they did the Pat McAfee pack, which they learned their lesson because the Pat McAfee pack was the same. It was like one pack. That's a waste. These players or these people are being added to individual packs, which is not a big deal. I'm not mad about it, honestly. I really am not mad about it. I don't have a big deal. It's not a big deal to me. Some of the NXT talent they got, like that didn't get put into the game, they're not people that I genuinely care about. Like Ethan Page is in the game. Javon Evans is in the game. I'm good with that, right? So like, Ariana Grace isn't in the game. Bro, WWE 2K has the best creative suite, community creations. Somebody's going to kill it with those names that didn't make it anyways. The moves will be in the game. They're going to put the persons in the game. I'm not mad about it. As far as the legends not being in the game, bro, we're getting Abyss. We're getting Abyss. We're getting Abyss. We're getting a lot of stuff. Let me take this call. This is really important. Billy, hold it down.
Yep. I'm going to talk to you guys. Chester, the roster 2K25 looks dope. I agree. It looks fire. I'm actually really excited for this game. Again, not a big gamer. I haven't been. I played 2K24 a tad bit, but 2K25 is actually going to be really interesting to see if I could really get myself into gaming here because I'm one of those people. Me and gaming do not get along. Maybe it's because I have ADHD. I'm not 100% sure. But I am very, very interested in this game. Phil, you said if you're on, Billy, hit me up. I'm playing the night. Does it? Yeah, it comes out tonight, doesn't it? It comes out.
Yeah, it's like early access or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I haven't gotten it yet. If you guys want to, drop a super chat over on my channel, help brother get the game. That'd be cool.
Yeah, bro, I'm excited for it. Really quick, it's just funny. That call showed that it was Connecticut. I was like, oh my God, bro. How crazy would it be while I'm on stream? Like something crazy is like, and then no, it's just extended your call. We're calling to extend your car warranty or whatever bullshit. I was like, did I just piss off somebody in Stanford?
Right.
Which would have been funnier if it was Jacksonville, but
nah.
What were you saying about the game? What was your? I know I hate to make you repeat it, but I'm curious.
No, just I'm very excited for the game. Just overall, like I haven't been like a huge gamer. It hasn't been like my big thing.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because like I mentioned, I have ADHD, so I struggle to sit in one place at one time
Yeah.
for long periods, so it's hard to like digest and get into the game. I've always played like Nintendo Switch. I'm a big Pokemon fan.
Yeah.
So I could sit and play through Pokemon and stuff like that because I'm really big into storylines. So I want to try like the My faction and stuff like that and really see if I can get myself involved in this.
I'll tell you guys, because I don't have a next gen console. A lot of people don't know this. I got rid of my Xbox and PlayStation a long time ago, which I honestly really regret. I really, really regret that.
Well, it's funny because my birthday's on Monday.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not gonna assume. I think my girl's gonna give me something nice, like a next gen console.
That'd be nice.
Because I told her, I said, hey, this is what I want.
Yeah.
She asked. So I don't know, but I might be waiting till Saturday is probably when it'll happen because we're celebrating my birthday on Saturday.
Yeah. All I know is like my PC is really good at gaming, so I'm probably just getting the game for PC. Okay. I don't know how it works with cross-platform.
I was going to say, how would that work?
I don't know if they have how that works. I have to look into it. But I will say, I know my faction gets a lot of shit. But I love grinding my faction. I did with 2K24. I also do that a lot with like my team and NBA.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's what I remember because I played a lot of NBA.
Yeah.
And I always grinded to my team.
So what's going to end up happening is I'm probably, as long as I could play online with other people, like that'll be cool. I don't know how it's going to work. I don't know what their plan is. I know I can't play The Island on PS5, which is kind of sad, or on PC, which is kind of sad. But until I get a next gen console, I'll probably just get it for PC. And then, I don't know, eventually I'll get a console. I don't know. There's just too many things. I can't buy a console right now. So it's just, there's just too much stuff going on, which is okay. Because honestly, if I get a console, I won't play anything other than WWE and NBA. So, but I will be streaming, and I'll probably be streaming a lot of Universe mode or a lot of my faction.
Fair.
So I'm cool with that. And I grind it. I do a series, no money at all. And the purpose of that is to literally just grind the game to keep me playing longer. Because if you pay money, then you can start unlocking more cool shit. No, I just like to grind. So that way you go from the bottom to the top. And like I did that with NBA, and it was really cool. Because at one point in NBA, I got a Sapphire. I think it was a Sapphire or like Diamond Chris Webber.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just like, dude, when I got it, I was like so happy because it took so long to grind, but it felt like an achievement, you know? Yeah. So I like that kind of grind aspect of my faction. So I'll probably stream that a lot. But yeah, I'm excited for WWE 2K25. Honestly, I give 2K props. I really loved the Fight Forever when it came out, and then there was a lack of updates and a lack of creative modes. And I feel like 2K really listened to the people as far as what people wanted this year. So I'm geeked for it, and I'll be streaming it and I'll be playing it. The question is, will I be doing it on this channel or the Ango Plays channel? I don't know. I think we'll see.
Right.
Live streaming is fun. I love live streaming, and I love doing it here on the Ango Show live Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. So with that being said, shout out to everybody that pulled up today. We have gone almost 2 hours long. Just a fantastic stream. Amazing turnout, amazing watch time. You guys are all awesome. And I think tomorrow we'll do Revolution predictions.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go and watch. I'll get a video out shortly. Then I'm gonna go watch Dynamite, maybe. And yeah.
If you guys want, I dropped the video earlier. Go check it out.
Go check it out, guys. YouTube.com/BillyTKO. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to Tolino Channel, Dwayne, Brian McHattie. Shout out to everybody, man. You guys really killed it today. David Primero, Tolino Channel. I feel like I'm missing somebody. Richard Cohn. Shout out to all the members. Shout out to people in the chat too. David Decker, Zach Pack, Phil, AG, Hassan, Michael Graham, Double D. Shout out to all of you guys. Justin, I mean, seriously, guys, you showed up, you pulled up and made this a great stream. So appreciate you guys and thank you for supporting. And we will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. And yeah.
You know it.